Hey, this is Dante McLean, and I'm going to be doing a short presentation on how to hit your monthly goals using our service, the Ad Network. So let's jump in. So I'm going to be covering one, how to hit your goals, your sales goals every month. Two, benchmarks needed to be successful. Three, I'm going to take you behind the scenes and I'll show you some of the campaigns that we work on and the process that you will see in working with us. And four, some of the best practices for closing leads. So we'll talk about how you can get your closing ratio from, say, 10% up to as high as 50% just using a few simple strategies. Now, having a marketing system in place makes all the difference. And really, there are only two things that matter in growing your fitness business. And in any service business, it's really easy to get distracted with a ton of shiny objects, but really there's only two things you need to focus on in getting to where you want to go. And that's one, generating consults / leads. And that's really what we handle. If you're not getting enough leads, we can always scale that, but we'll talk about that in a bit. And two, conducting those consults / sales presentations. And if you're not making the income that you want, let me ask you this. How many consultations did you do in the last 7 days? And what did you do in the last 7 days to promote and generate consultations? You see, the most successful businesses know down to the dollar the cost to generate a consultation or a lead, which is what we keep track of for you guys, of course, and two, the cost to acquire a client. Now, once you know this magical number, the cost that we actually need to invest on Facebook to pump out a client, then the game becomes a lot of fun and very easy. Now, when you have a predictable system for generating clients and you know these two numbers, every month is as simple as generating enough leads and consultations and having the time available to fulfill those consultations and hit your goals. Now, I'm going to be going over some numbers, and I gotta say that I'm not a huge fan of numbers myself, but being in the marketing biz, I have to be. So if you're not a numbers person yourself, just bear with me. These are the numbers that are going to actually make you a lot of money. So your cost per lead is what we call CPL, and that fluctuates, but it typically ranges from anywhere from $3 to $10. In slow months, it'll be a little bit more, and then good months, like the beginning of the year and summer, even though a lot of people think summer's bad, summer is actually some of the best times we have. It'll be a lot cheaper. Now, we recommend starting with an ad budget of $500 per month, which is standard for everyone, unless you have more aggressive goals, of course. Now, the goal is to spend $500, and this is on the worst case scenario. So you spend $500 and you get $10 lead cost, and you get 50 leads per month, okay? Now, we have two scenarios, okay? If you can just close 1 out of 10 of those leads, you're gonna be in good shape, all right? And that's gonna be 5 sales. And right below that, you can see the cost per sale with the ad spend. So that's ad spend $500 divided by the number of sales, which is 5. So it's going to cost you $100 to acquire a new client. So $100 cost per sale. And that really isn't bad when you think about a client paying you $150 per month or $200 per month or even more, especially when you get into personal training. Okay, so $100 cost per sale, which is passable. And then two, we have a closing ratio of 2 out of 10. So if you close 2 out of every 10 leads you get, you're going to be in great shape closing 20%. All right, and that's going to be 10 sales. So your cost per sale is going to be $50. So every time we invest $50 on Facebook, you pump out a new member. And now these numbers are so important because us being your marketing team, once we understand the numbers, once we know your closing ratio, we know our cost per lead, then we can actually project and get you a certain number of clients during the course of the month. So say you want, 30 clients, and we know your cost per sale is $50, then we can spend the $1,500 that we need to get the actual number of sales that you want, which is awesome. And we'll kind of get into that as well. That number might seem high for some people, but I have something really cool to show you as well. So two, the goal of the $500 ad spend, but if we're at a $3 cost per lead, that'd be 166 leads per month. If you close 1 out of 10 of those leads, you're in good shape, remember? So 1 out of 10 is good. We're talking about 17 sales for the month. Now, if you close 2 out of 10, 20% is great. we have clients closing up to 50%. So at the end of the presentation, we'll show you how to get that conversion rate up. So 10% is kind of boilerplate, but as you go up through there, you get better and better, and your cost per sale goes down. So in this case, at the very bottom, you see 2 out of 10 leads closed. That's 33 sales for the month, and your cost per sale is $15. Now, who wouldn't want to pay $15 to acquire a brand new client? Like, that's dirt cheap in any industry. Now, secret number 1 is develop a system to strategically hit your monthly goals. Now, it's all about creating your, what I like to call your magic cash machine. Now, if every time you put in $50 into an ATM, a magic ATM, just imagine this. I know I'm crazy. Now, every time you put $50 into a magic ATM and you receive $250 back, how many times would you put in $50? I hope you're saying as many times as possible. And that's really what we're doing in the internet marketing space. Is we're seeing what our cost per sale is, which is that $50, for example, and we're putting that in advertising spend on Facebook, and then it pumps out a client who could pay you $250 per month. Maybe it's a little less, maybe it's more, and we got to do that as many times as possible until you completely max out. Now, how much is a high-end client worth to you? Just think about that number. Now, your funnel is your magic cash machine. Okay, so it's very simple. On the left, we have our Facebook ad. We take them off of Facebook. We go straight to your program offer, which is whatever program we're doing. If you're doing like 6-week transformation or boot camp, there's tons of funnels that we have available to you guys. And then after they give us their name, email, and phone number on that page, we send them over to an application form. And then they get, that's what we call our long application. So you get usually 2 notifications for that. So you get your short application, name, email, phone number on the left. And then on the right, long application, you get a lot more sales data where you can kind of dig into the emotional drivers of why they actually became a lead. And then we send them over to a final thank you page. And typically for us, that's a social sharing page, so they can go back to the Facebook ad that they clicked on and tag their friends. So you can pick up some free leads, just having people go back and tag their friends for you, okay? And then, so that's the funnel. Now, remember when I told you that spending, say, $1,500 in ad spend may sound scary? Now, there's a method that we use called tiny budget recycling, and I cannot take credit for this. This is from Todd Brown. He's a genius marketer in more of my industry rather than so much fitness. But his method goes like this. So you start with whatever budget you have, say $50, okay? And you let that $50 drive some traffic and sales for you, all right? Now you take that money from the sales and then you reinvest it back into traffic the very next day. And now for our example, we start with a $500 ad spend per month. And the only reason why that's higher than, say, $50 is because the method that he's explaining is where people buy online, and so you instantly get that money back. With having to call leads and close them in person or over the phone, the sales cycle is a little bit longer, so we need some more cash flow to give us some runway. But if you did that every day for 30 days, you can drive $1,500 worth of traffic to your funnel simply by reusing and recycling the same $50 over and over. So if every day you spent $50 on traffic, and then you got the leads from that, depending on your cost per lead, it can fluctuate, and then you closed one sale per day and you made your money back instantly, and you did that every day for 30 days, you would drive $1,500 worth of traffic using the same $50 over and over and over. So when we talk about scaling your budget and say going from $500 a month to $1,000 or $1,500, we're really just recycling the same $500 over and over. You take the profit, we keep the principal, and just keep recycling that over and over until we hit your monthly goal. Now, the key is that you have a system. So you're converting all the traffic and leads into sales and simply recycling whatever your budget is over and over to make more and more profit. All right, so now secret number 2, the more you spend, the more sales you get, okay? So why it's best to start with a small budget of, say, $15 a day and then scale up. All right, some more scales. more sales, more scales. Unless you're selling alligator scales, which may make you rich. Side note, sorry. Remember that cost per sale thingy? Say your cost per sale is $50. So every time we invest $50 in ads, we generate a brand new client. Cha-ching. How many new clients do you want in the next month? So whatever that answer is for you, just think about it. For our example, we'll say 30. Just take $50 cost per sale, so the amount we need to invest to get you a new client, and you multiply that by the 30 clients that you want, and we'll need $1,500 needed to generate 30 new clients, all right? And if 30 new clients were worth, say, $249 to you each, that'd be $7,470 in revenue for you. And that could be monthly reoccurring. So $1,500 to make $7,470 in revenue. Not bad, huh? Now, let's do a screen share. So I kind of went over some numbers and showed you cost per sale and the importance of that, and scaling up, and why scaling up really isn't as scary as you think. Now I want to take you behind the scenes and show you a quick campaign that we've been working on for a while, and you'll be able to see our testing process. There's a lot that goes into these campaigns, I just want to warn you, and there's going to be a lot of numbers to look at, but I don't want you to fret because I'll try to guide you as best as possible. So I'm going to go over to Business Manager. Now, Business Manager is where we actually go in, we'll post the ads, but this, what you're looking at right now, this is what we look at every day when we talk about how well a campaign is doing, and we see what we need to turn off, what's working, what's not, and next steps for each campaign that we run. All right, so we always start with a copy test, and just to make this a little interesting for you, I'm going to open these three just to give you an idea. Now, really what we do, we're more data scientists than anything. We try to stay as objective as possible and let the data guide us in our decision making. So we'll go out, a lot of the times I am right, but a lot of the times I'm wrong as well. And I don't mind, because I let the data tell me what the next move is to make, so that we are getting the best return on your advertising spend. Now I'm going to show you what we start with, and you can kind of see our mindset when we get a campaign. Right now I'm just trying to get to the actual ad so you can see it for 3 different ads, so give me a second. All right, cool. So here it is. So we always run a copy test first, and when you think about the testing that we do, it's all process of elimination. We got to see what works, and with that it's kind of slow because we can only test one variable at a time. So if we tested multiple variables, so if we did a different image and different copy for 3 different tests, then we really wouldn't know what to attribute the boost in ROI or the cost per lead. So I'm going to do lifetime here. So this is going to show us the lifetime cost per lead for this campaign. So in this campaign, you can see the copy, 6-week transformation. We're looking for 10 ladies to undergo 6-week transformation challenge. Boom. So here is the ad and the copy. Okay. So this is what we call copy, and this is the image. And you can see that we got 29 leads, and the cost per lead was $2.59, which is really good. And then copy 3, I'll go to lifetime because we ran this a while ago, so I have to go back into the data. Now you can see copy 3 here, copy test 3, boom. We're using the same exact image, but we're using different copy, okay? So with that, you can see the cost per lead was higher, so it's $3.56. So still passable, but it is higher than what the other copy gave us. So we're actually having these 3 things go head to head to see which one performs the best. And this is the last one. And you can see the 26 leads, cost per lead is $2.86, and the copy is different still. So we'll keep the same image and different copy. And that's just a copy test. Now we have 3 to 4 different tests that we typically run through to see which one will perform best for your area. And then we'll keep throwing things against our top performer, which in this case is this guy right here, lowest cost per lead, just to see if we can beat what we already have. So let me go back. So that's the copy test that we ran a while back, as you can see. And then from there, we'll keep moving and do different tests. So you'll see we'll test mobile, which is a placement, versus desktop, mobile and desktop together, versus just mobile by itself. We'll test IG, which is Instagram. We'll do retargeting. That means anyone who had clicked our ads and went to the landing page and didn't become a lead, so they entered their name, email, and phone number, we'll actually chase them around on the internet. I'm sure you've seen ads like that in the past, and ask them to sign up, and we'll introduce things like scarcity. And we'll just keep doing tests, different tests. As you see, the cost per lead was a little bit higher as we started. And then we'll keep testing and we'll keep testing. And then the cost per lead is here. And then you can see what we're running now with these MDI, which means mobile, desktop, Instagram. We're grouping those all together. And the cost per lead is around $3 for what we're running now. So this is all the testing we do. We keep doing testing, and then even after we do all this testing, we find the best performing image. We'll test different images against each other with the best performing copy. Even after we find that, we can only run it for so long because we hit things like ad fatigue, which is where too many people have seen your ad and they already have decided whether they're going to act or not. And yeah, it's my birthday. Sorry about that. And they already have decided whether they're going to act or not. And it's just called ad blindness, and they just kind of tune out the ad because they've seen it before. So we have to combat that as well. So we'll keep putting in new images month after month, just to keep things fresh with your local market. And so that's kind of behind the scenes, just to give you a 30,000 foot overview of what we do in trying to get your campaign optimized. So that's our screen share for you. And secret 3, the really important stuff. So we're getting you the leads. The cost per lead is great. We're working our butts off to get your cost per lead down on our end. Now it's really important for you to value the leads that we're sending over, because these are real people. Every day the lead costs may fluctuate a little bit because we're advertising to real people within usually a 6-mile radius around your facility. Okay, so that just make sure you keep that in mind. Now, how to close. Response time is paramount. The faster, the better, no matter what industry. Now, good is within 24 hours. If you're getting a lead and you're contacting them within the first 24 hours, you're passing. Now, better than that is the same day, which is really great. But the best, and what we found, is the same hour. Now, is that realistic for everyone, especially if you're doing all this by yourself? Not really. So the same hour is the best, but if you can get to someone within 24 hours, then they're going to still be hot. But if you think about it, if you were to fill out a form and someone called you within the first, hour, 10, 15 minutes, while it's still top of mind, you would be way more likely to, one, pick up the phone and have that conversation, because who knows what had just happened to you. Maybe you had something that really sparked the interest, or maybe something very emotional happened and you're still in that same energy, then you're way more likely to engage in a conversation and actually even be sold over the phone. So we always like to say the same hour is literally the best scenario, but within 24 hours is passing. Now, keeping up with lead tracking sheets. This is important because leads will flow in, and say you're getting 10, 15 leads a day. If you want to scale up, which we talked about, then keeping this tracking sheet up to date is going to be paramount to your success, because without keeping up your tracking sheet, you're not going to know how many times you've contacted a lead. You're not going to know the notes on the lead, and you're going to be digging through possibly emails or some other form that may not be nearly as effective. And it's going to hurt you in the long run. So make sure you have your lead tracking sheets up to date. You know who you sold, who's interested, how many touch points you've had so far with the lead, and you will be on your way to closing 50%. Now, 5 points of contact. Here is a overview of a flow. You don't have to take this in particular, but you want to make sure you're contacting lead 5 times before you throw them away, quote unquote, or move to contacting them once a week or once every other week. The first week is when they are the most hot, and the more you wait after that, they're just going to forget that they filled out a form basically on Facebook, and they're just going to move on with their lives, as you would if you try to contact someone like a dentist office or something like that, and you contacted multiple, and they got back to you 3 weeks later. You just would forget that you even did that. So with this, phone call plus voicemail is great for your first engagement. Then you can move over to a text message for your second engagement the next day. Email the third. We also have automated emails going out for all of our campaigns. And those emails really push the lead to contacting you back or filling out the long application form so they're more qualified. And then 4, phone call and a voicemail. And then you can top it off with one last text message with some scarcity. So this is just a general guide. We also have our sales scripts, which we'll get into. But as far as best times to call, within the first 15 minutes of the lead coming in, that's when they're hot. Within the same hour, we also said would be fine. But what we also found is contacting a lead between 5 to 7 p.m. is really good. So a lot of people are actually at work when they fill out these forms. Not everyone, but a good group of people, maybe during their lunch break, and they filled out the Facebook form to become a lead for you. Now that means they're still at work. So contacting them after that working hours of 5 to 7 is usually when you're going to get a really good connection rate, and it'll save you a ton of time trying to chase down leads. We also have a form we can add to your application form, best time to call. But make sure you contact us about that if you want that added, okay? And that would make your life a ton easier, right? So, closing, sales scripts. We have a sales script, and you want to make sure you qualify every lead that you are having come in. You don't want to waste your time having a lead come in and you know that they can't afford you. So you want to make sure you're price qualifying for people just coming in. But use our sales scripts to qualify and close leads over the phone. If you need access to those, just email support and they'll get those over to you as soon as possible. And if you're selling in person, like I said, qualify over the phone just to make sure to call and text. Qualify over the phone and make sure to call and text the day of the appointment to increase your show up rate. So if you're going to have someone come in and you spent the money to have them become a lead, just take the extra few minutes to text them or call them the day of, the morning of the appointment, to make sure that they actually show up. So that's very, very, very important. All right, so in closing, if you have any questions, make sure to book time on your weekly call with your account manager. And you can also email support at DanteMcLean.com if you want any modifications to your campaign or if you're looking for that sales script. All right, guys, that is it for now. If you have any questions with me, just make sure to reach out and I'd be happy to help as well. And I hope you have a good one. Cheers.